Welcome to Celtics Stuff Live on the CLNS Media Network, the leading online provider of audio and video coverage for your Boston Celtics. And today it's KG's Boston Celtics as far as I'm concerned. Number 5, going to the rafters. John and Justin are here, and we've got a returning guest, my son Riley, who was at the game, stuck around for the ceremony. Hopefully didn't get into too much trouble in Boston after the ceremony. And we are going to be talking about all things KG. We'll catch up on the Celtics during the show today as well, and they continue their hot roll despite a loss to Dallas. At least it was an entertaining game. It was a close one, and like any show, we can always find a reason to complain about the refs or pick on them a little bit, and certainly that game gives us some fodder for that in the waning minutes. So, John, where do we start before we bring in Riley? Where do we start on all this? KG's my guy. Have you watched the Showtime special? Maybe we start there. We haven't talked about that yet. Anything's possible.
Okay. You want to start? Let's just start on the name. The fact I watched with my kids watching this, and he did not say anything is possible at any point. I had 2 kids who are a little disappointed that thought he would finish the whole thing with anything is possible. I'm like, that's a little on the nose. I'm not sure KG works like that. He's a very spur of the moment guy, and so but
he botched the quote. Like, for everybody in the background on that, like there was something about that was, I think it was pre-planned in a way, but it came out differently. But either way, you haven't seen the Showtime special, Anything's Possible.
You keep bringing up the Showtime special, and I'm all about talking about the Showtime special.
But have you seen it?
He just had his number retired, Justin.
I get it.
Who cares about the Showtime special? The big thing that happened is KG, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce. Why are you leading it with something that came out 2 months ago? You got to stop it, man. Put it away.
Listen.
We'll talk about Showtime a week ago, a month. It happened. It's in the rafters. Riley's got it up. Like, what are we talking about?
All right, fine. Take the show.
Get out of here with that.
He just doesn't want to talk about Ray. That's what it is.
No, it's talk about Ray, right? Like,
no, not right away.
This is like
not right away.
Why not? What's wrong with Ray?
I'm giving you a hard time. I'm sorry.
I know, but I'm just saying. The Showtime special was killer, and it's because it talks about how he became this person that changed the culture in Boston. And the way that this all went down, I mean, he was so deserving. He's my favorite. And so what I was going to say was, an example of him being my favorite is that I watched that Anything is Possible, and I literally got an hour and 20 minutes into it. And KG had me so jacked up with what he was saying in the middle of that special that I actually paused it and had to go for a run for 50 minutes and come back and finish it because I was too excited to keep watching it. I got so pumped up. And I'm just saying, that's what this guy has. It's the special sauce. And it doesn't matter if it's a game or a Showtime special, or if it's his retirement ceremony, dude. He gets everybody just totally wound up. He does everything 100%, 110%.
Yeah. No, no doubt, no disagreement, anybody who would disagree with that might be the dumbest person on earth, right? I mean, come on. That guy speaks 5 seconds and you're like, whoa, right? I mean, you knew. Okay, I'll be honest. When Scal came out to do the interview, I'm like, I'm not so sure about this, right? The best part, all respect to Scal, he'd say like 3 words and then get out of the way, because he knew he was smart enough. Get out of the way and just let him go. And then he went, right? He took that energy, and he didn't have a speech. I thought he'd have a speech. Like, I thought he'd do the rambling speech like Paul Pierce had 4 years ago, where you're like, Paul, like, is there anybody else left we haven't talked about? But he did. He kind of kept it right to what Scal kind of. It was great. I thought it really worked out quite well. But no, I mean, my God, the energy, the passion, right. I mean, he hit all the parts that he needed to hit in that little, kind of one-on-one interview that made me feel like, okay, this was the full deal. This is the best number retirement since Larry Bird night in terms of Celtics, clearly far and away. And it The other thing is it closed the chapter to me. That's the big thing that I saw is it closed a chapter for the Celtics. I know he talked about Ray and we'll talk and Rondo and all that and their number retirements. Let's just put that aside for a second.
Okay, for you.
But and we have to talk about it. We definitely have to talk about that. But to me, this was the end of an era. Like for him to go in there and have his guys, Gray, old, big baby.
James Posey, is that who you're talking about?
Man, James Posey looks like he's 85 years old. What's going on, James?
Right?
Pose, like a few less hugs, brother. I don't know what's going on, but it felt like this is now. Everyone says that the game wasn't really like it was just kind of like an opening act, but in a way, kind of seeing Tatum and Luka, like they're not just like the next. They are the now. And we've been pining ever since that era. And it was great and we loved it. But we've got something special now. It's not like someday, it's happening. And so it kind of was, it had even more significance in my mind. It was probably better than the schedule makers could have thought up. It was like, look, these guys are ready to run this league now. And this is what was great. But even as a Celtics fan who loved that era, I mean, we were there for all of it. Even I'm ready to okay, let's turn the chapter. Let's see what this new group can do. And
hard to believe how long it's been. I just can't believe it's been that long
14
since we were watching, KG play and Paul and that other guy and Rondo and Perk and But listen, so we brought Riley on to tell us what it was like because the game. And here's something that we started talking about, but we didn't really get into. We're trying to save as much for the show as possible. But Riley, I want to start it off with, do you think the ceremony should have happened before the game? Or do you like that it was after the game? Because I almost feel like this team could have used that energy, like from the ceremony leading into the game.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, after they lost, I was like, they should have done that before because nobody wants to be here right now. Like literally nobody. The garden was so awkward. We were all just sitting there. We're like, damn, we just lost. And we got to wait like 30 minutes. Like they're putting the chairs up. It was like, I don't even care. Like set it for tomorrow. We need a minute for this game. Like it was awful. If a game ended differently and not just like a win, it was just a rough game. So it's like they couldn't hit anything. So I don't know. It felt like they already had KG's energy and it like overwhelmed them. Like they literally had his intensity and they couldn't handle like the emotions because Jalen, like seriously,
they had to channel the superpower, right?
They couldn't.
Wasn't that KG's quote? Was you had to figure out a way to control the superpower?
They couldn't do it. They got like
Jalen Brown threw that dunk down and went and got a high five. That
nobody
right
in the
there,
garden saw
that was the
that
pinnacle of energy. In that game for the Celtics.
Well,
that was
actually the pinnacle of energy is when Jalen airmails the shot immediately after because he's so hyped. He just dapped up a legend. And Zach and I are sitting there, my roommate and I, and we were at the game and Jalen does this dribble move that I've never seen him pull out. And I just looked at him, like, he's shooting this. Like we knew he just got in his bag and he just airmails it. I was like, oh, they're too hyped up. They didn't need any of his energy. They needed his support.
They're not his type.
No, not at all.
But that was such a KG thing. Like, remember, he'd start games and he'd be too much. Like, he'd brick stuff early on. Like, he had to facilitate because there was too much. And it was like think about defensively locked down the whole game. Like, everything was like tough and grimy. Even like Tatum and Brown were like just chest bumping and like that's not stuff we see from those guys. And that's why I'm like, whoa, this is different. Like, are they doing it for KG? Maybe. I don't know. But it like maybe they are starting to turn that corner. Like, look, you gotta be angry, you gotta be a little rough, you gotta be, you gotta grind this stuff out. And that was a grinded out knuckle push-up game, bar fight. Remember bar fight? Bar fight. There's a bar fight out there.
Yeah, they literally played
like
that
it was. It like in terms of like a precursor, other than winning the game, which obviously would have been the most KG thing ever. But other than that, like it felt like it was a Kevin Garnett game. It really did. I was so jealous, Rob.
Yeah, loaded with defense. Loaded with defense.
Yeah, except for on Luca. That didn't work out so well. But that's okay. They tried,
Too much doubling, I thought. I thought they really got out of They have enough guys who can stay home. Like, maybe you throw the double at him at the end of the game, but like all game, like he's gonna figure that out. He's too,
especially after he pulled up his hamstring. Like, he wasn't even 100%. Why
right?
Doubling him?
No,
make it drive on me. Like, create.
or just like Jalen is fast enough to not switch. Like, I know that their thing is switch everything. Not everything. Like, everything when it's not Luka Doncic. Like, I don't know. I just was like, Jalen was clamping him all first half, and then we start letting him get on Horford, and I just didn't get it. But
yep.
I digress.
I agree.
They've won way too many times to complain about it. So,
totally.
Did you have a good vantage point for the ceremony? I mean, like after the game and everything, were you? Because I was obviously on the jumbotron or whatever, and you're able to see it that way. And I know your seats were kind of up towards the nosebleeds a little bit, but they're directly across from the jumbotron in that area. But did everybody stick around? I mean, I'm assuming that they did.
Yeah, nobody left.
That's great.
Yeah. No, I figured. I mean, there's a lot of, tension, like I said, in the Garden after. I mean, they had so many shots at the game. Everyone was just so worked up because I never thought about this, like just watching, but I can't hear when they call timeout. So when Tatum shot that shot after they called timeout, I thought that was game. And I was like, they lost. And then nobody looked like they lost. So I was like, what just happened? And then this guy next to me is like, they called timeout. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it didn't matter. Tatum still missed the other one, but it was so much happening. And they took so long to review the Smart three. It was just like,
energy sucking.
Shot. Yeah.
That was a horrible. So you and I did talk about this, but that was a horrible overturn call. If they hadn't called it at all instead of the challenge, I would have been fine with it. Like a non-call, acceptable. But not enough to overturn it, in my opinion. You got to go with the original call in that scenario, especially going down to the wire.
Yeah, and you'd think for the ratings that they'd want it to go to overtime. You'd want more basketball. It's just a weird thing that they overturned.
Does Smart hit all threes? All three of them, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in a moment. They've been practicing free throws for way too long to not hit the clutch ones. I mean, what is Rob?
Too.
So maybe what took so long is they were like, hey, we got this stuff lined up for KG's retirement. If we go into overtime, it kind of screws up the plans. Both teams are really hot. Celtics can afford a loss. Let's just get on with the ceremony.
Can't. They need that fourth seed. You want home court against Bulls. I don't know. It's weird. The whole thing just, like you said, it just sucks the energy out. It's not like new idea. You've talked about this forever. It's just like, we'll watch the games and you're like, oh my God, can they get this call out? Like, it's just, we're all sitting here with this anticipation to watch basketball and we're watching them review this call.
Yeah, it's one of the worst things about basketball these days is that how long that takes sometimes. I also think like Ray must have been the jinx, for the game.
Oh my God, dude. You've got to. What's funny about that? Just because I know I'm not going to have another opportunity to say this because you're just about to go on a whole tangent about Ray here. My only memory of the Celtics, like before Isaiah Thomas, is just this one game against Charlotte. I don't know why, but we were watching it and Ray sticks this three in the corner for the game. And that's like my only memory of the Celtics, like before I started watching them. So I just want you to know that like the only thing I remember is Ray Allen being that guy. So just throwing it out there, just saying. Now you can proceed with your Ray bashing.
Yeah, I feel icky inside.
Are we going to Ray? You want to talk about Ray? Are we going to talk about Ray?
We don't have to go to Ray. I just
want to work.
Is there a choice though?
I feel yucky that my son's only memory of the Celtics.
I'm not saying that I'm a Ray homer. I'm just saying that he was that dude.
I know. It's just that guy never stops crapping in my drink or whatever.
Okay.
I just peeing in my pool. I don't like it.
let's try to work this through for you. Okay. Let's have a therapy session, right? This is
I just want you to know, it's like I already
here.
told Gelso.
We're confronting
I'm not
you.
changing.
No, because I saw that
right.
Twitter
this could
thread.
This could be a Ray intervention.
This is an intervention. It's
on
time.
Twitter. It's documented.
It's time.
No.
I'm gonna bring Nick Gelso in here. Hold on, Nick. No. Look, I think like you, I harbor bad feelings towards Ray Allen for how he left. I think that he did not operate in the best way. I think that, he was a free agent. You could say he doesn't owe it to the franchise, but he owes it to his teammates to have communication and work that out. Okay. So a decade later, which is where we are now, Kevin Garnett deems it okay to say bygones be bygones. And I will say until yesterday, when Abby Chin before the game said Ray's expected to be at the game, until that happened, my stance on Ray all along was, look, he's mad. He and the national media are trying to paint this as KG's grudge, as if KG needs to get over it. And I think there were both sides that needed to come to agreement here. It's not just KG. This is Ray has some things to atone for. He didn't. KG didn't. But they just said, we're breaking bread. We're moving on together, which I'm okay with. If KG's okay with it, if he's ready to move on, I'm ready to move on. Does that mean he gets his number up there?
No,
I'm not there. I'm not there. But is he a member? Is he a member of the? Oh, geez, here we go. Look out.
No way.
Is he a member of the Celtics family? Is he welcome at games? Is he a past Celtic great in the same way Maxwell is a past Celtic great who basically screwed him out of the 85 title because he didn't do his rehab? Is that, we're now, Max is great. Max is wonderful. You can directly point to 85 and say, Max is healthy. Max does his knee stuff, and they win in 85. So I think you can let those things work through, but it's gonna take time of him showing up to games and just moving on. It's not going to be like instant. We're all happy Ray's back, and everyone's wearing 20 jerseys with Allen on the back. That's how I feel, at least.
Ray was never here. He was never here. He didn't like being the third wheel. He took it and he did it because he had to. But I mean, the minute Avery Bradley took his job, it was like everything that was already bothering him set him over the edge, and he's sulky. And I am fine with the fact that KG and Paul and Ray are fine. I am not criticizing them for getting healing or saying that they shouldn't, because I think KG should have fond memories of putting the banner up into the rafters. And I think he should have good relationships with his former teammates if that's what he wants and everything else. I'm just reserving. My thing is, as a fan, right? Like if this was a family member thing, if this was my blood or my coworker that, I built and sold a business with, and we had tough times and we got into fights, and then, 10 years later, there was still bad blood, but I didn't want to die with that bad blood going on. Sure. 100%. So I have no problem with KG and Paul and Ray all coming together on that and healing. I don't have a problem with the hug. It didn't taint the ceremony for me or anything like that. But as a fan, I reverted. I reserve the right to say I hate Ray, and I hate Ray because I'm a fan. And so this is different. I'm on the outside. I'm not on the inside. Ray can go to his deathbed and not give two craps about whether or not Justin Poulin liked him during his career. And Justin Poulin can go to his deathbed thinking Ray's a complete asshole. And that's fine. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And as a fan, I reserve the right to say, I thought Ray was kind of petulant. I thought he was a baby. I thought he was a total narcissistic baby. And so I don't have to like him. And if it's condoned to boo Isaiah Thomas in the Garden, even though he's like KG's hero, it's okay for me to boo the shit out of Ray at home and for now until eternity. And I'm gonna, It's never, for me personally, I am never going to look back at that and go, oh, yeah, Ray was the big three, because he wasn't. Rondo was. In my mind, I look at the big three as Rondo, Paul, and KG. Over the duration of those years spent together, Rondo had more influence over their winning than Ray Allen did, in my opinion. I know Ray hit some big shots.
I don't disagree with you there. You know how I feel about Rondo. So I totally agree with you there.
Rondo gets a permo pass from you.
No question. He can do no wrong. Now you swayed me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's like, look,
you were already there, John. Just embrace your fandom.
I think.
Yeah, do what you know is right in your heart. Shut Ray out.
Come, go ahead, get chanting. Shut Ray out.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's better for the Celtics organization at this point to move on past this with Ray, and for Celtics fans to move past this with Ray than to continue to let it linger. I think it actually hurts the Celtics brand. I think it hurts the Celtics culture in a way. I think it creates negativity where it needn't exist. Do I think he did the right thing? Absolutely friggin' not. I think he screwed his teammates. I think he screwed the franchise. He was a free agent, sure, but he made his bed.
All right,
but
let me position
a decade
it
later. Just a decade later, I think I can say he got what he wanted out of it. Celtics didn't win the championship in 12, but they had a good run. Might he have been the difference? Possibly.
All right, hold on. Let me ask you this. If they didn't win a championship
or 13
at all, is it okay to keep Ray out still? Or is it because they put a banner in the rafters that you kind of
that's the only way any of them have a title, have their banner.
No, I get that. No, I get that. I'm saying, like, okay, fine. No ceremony. There's bad blood. They were great. Let's pretend they went to the finals every single year, but just never won it, right? But it was one of the greatest teams of all time. They played together. It was awesome, but there's no championship, or they won the championship after Ray left. How about that one? Right? They spent all that time together. And they win the championship the year Ray leaves and goes to Miami. They whoop his ass, get the banner, and then, it goes down. Do you still want this healing with Ray?
I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care about Ray at all.
Okay, so the only reason Ray matters is because of the banner he barely contributed to.
He didn't barely contribute to it. You got to stop this revisionism that benefits your side of this. He was a big contributor. They don't come back in Game 4 against the Lakers.
No, you're right.
Right? They don't get past the Bulls in 2009 without Ray Allen. Like, I'm totally with you.
No, you're right.
I'm totally with you. That Rondo
advocate. You're right.
Over the totality, just the time that Ray was there, Rondo was the more impactful Celtic. I totally believe that. But I think in 2008 and 2009, Ray was still special. And I think Ray was better in 2008. I think 2009 is when things started to shift, and not coincidentally, that's when things started to get frosty between Ray and Rondo. Although there's other rumors of why that is too.
It's the fact that he went to LeBron.
Right. Oh,
it was where he went. So,
if he went to Phoenix,
so let me ask you something.
If he went to LA, who cares?
Let me ask you this question then. Kyrie's here. Hayward doesn't get hurt. Kyrie stays healthy. They raise a banner, but Kyrie still decides not to come back after 2 years, pulls all of his shenanigans anyway. Do you want the same healing for Kyrie? Let's say everything else played out the same way, except somehow they squeaked in a championship thing. Then the young guys want, hey, we won the championship because, we played better, like, or Kyrie gets hurt. You know what I mean? And doesn't play in the championship, but he's with that team that year, and then he moves on. Like, do you want it? Jason Tatum.
There's too many what ifs here.
Keep going, Riley.
It's just, it's Okay, so in this hypothetical where they win the chip with Kyrie and then Kyrie leaves, then yes. The reason that people will forever be mad with Kyrie is because they didn't, and he wasn't there. And when he was there, they sucked, like bad, like worse than I've ever seen them. And I know that I haven't seen them at their worst. I'm just saying, in my small span of them being awesome and mediocre, they were mediocre, which is the worst that I've seen them. And I've been very privileged that that's the lowest I've seen them. But like the lowest I've ever seen them is when they had Kyrie Irving, which is not what you would expect it to be. But the reason that Ray has something here and the reason that healing can exist is because he contributed to some sort of winning. And that's what matters in the city. That's what matters to the city. So like, I think 10 years, I don't know. If Kyrie won us a chip and then left, I don't even know that I'd be mad to begin with, because like whatever, like we've got young talent coming through. Like it's his choice. But I think the part that makes it condemnable to some people is that, you know, you didn't contribute. You came here. You said you wanted to stay here. You said you wanted to win here. You failed, and then you left. And once you leave after you fail, that's why people are mad. I don't think that deserves you getting harassed or having a water bottle thrown at you or whatever, but you stomped on the logo. So then, you know, it's like a bunch of instigation back and forth. It's like,
yeah, but Ray instigated too. That's kind of my point.
No, but that's way more petty. We're talking about like visual stuff, and then there's speculative stuff. And the speculative stuff is, oh, KG cropped Ray out of an Instagram photo. And this is like Kyrie literally being a demonstrative piece of. So it's not the same at all. So it's like, if you want to compare it to Kyrie, you have to set it exactly the way that it was with Ray. Like you can't, Kyrie did not win here, and he did not contribute to winning here. He was on a team that after he left went to the conference finals, and then he was on a team where him and Jason Tatum sold the series against the Bucks. That's kind of what happened. And so it's like, that's it. That's his Celtic legacy. But Ray was actually part of a winning team multiple times. I mean, if KG doesn't get hurt, they probably have a second banner, and they went to another game 7 in the finals. So it's like, that was way more winning than Kyrie did. So I don't see.
I guess I feel like if Ray
comparison.
was really good, he'd be
Oh
in
my
the
God.
championship without KG. Just kidding. I'm reserving. I'm not going to be objective about this because
we noticed.
I'm not. I mean, well, yeah. I mean,
Really?
You
Tell
guys
me
don't.
more.
You don't have to prove that I'm not being objective. It's very obvious for years
it's
now
obvious
that I'm not being objective.
but there's nothing. Look,
this isn't an objective opinion.
Yeah.
This is. I don't like the guy, and I'm not gonna like him. That's
okay. That's okay.
I don't think
have
you
to
have to like
him.
the guy. Yeah, but I think there's a difference between not liking the guy and being willing to like move on past it, I guess, is what it is.
Yeah, and
like it's not an active,
and it's
not gonna be an active part of my fandom.
Yeah.
Every time I'd see his dumb face on Instagram or on Twitter talking about what KG was mean and they should have, I tried, blah, blah, blah. And I took the bait every single time. You go back from my Twitter feed, I bet 10% of every tweet I've ever sent since 2009 of joining Twitter.
I used to feel like we were on the same page on this one.
Absolutely. And because I was pissed at that guy.
So now totally it's only Kyrie. That's all we've got.
Totally screwed us.
Oh my goodness.
That's the only thing we have.
But the difference is
that what it's down now?
That continuing to harbor that, if KG's moved on, I'm willing to put it in the past too. Like, look, it's over. I want him to be a legend. I want him to be. Look, I'll tell you. Here's the other thing about yesterday.
I don't think KG would respect your followerism.
I completely disagree with you. I think the question you asked at the end of 2006 NBA, 2008 NBA Finals probably would suggest he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Because we F with him like he wants. Yeah. Anyway, I can't do it like KG. I think we all knew that. But look, this is. I'll tell you one of the other things that I took from yesterday's game. First of all, I tweeted this. I guess people are still retweeting me about this. Yesterday's jersey ceremony was the first jersey retirement in Celtics history where Tommy Heinsohn was not involved. The first time ever, right? Since 1957, he was there for every single jersey retirement throughout. Even that interim period before he became a broadcaster, was fired, he was, still in the Celtics family and attending and involved. But he was that guy, right? And you look at, like, they did that Legends. All of a sudden, Kelly Olynyk is a legend at halftime of the Pistons game. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, things are really stretching on that one. But to the point where we're taking photos of significant others of legends because the legends aren't around. Like,
yeah.
So the Celtics have to have part of what made the Celtic fandom as a kid for me growing up.
Oh, you're saying they need Ray.
I'm saying the Celtics need legends. The Celtics need mystique. The Celtics
light bulb
need
just
people.
went off, and he's pissed.
They need people who speak about Celtic mystique, who understand what it means to win in Boston.
Who better than Ray Allen to encourage going to the enemy to be part of that?
Oh my gosh, you have got to stop.
He's actually probably right on that one, though.
I am right on that one.
But you know what?
That part of it, that small part. No.
But
listen,
NBA now, right? Like, this is where we are. Everybody's moving. Like, look at where all these guys came from. It's like, this is where we are now. Everybody's moving all the time. But you need to make something special about this place, right? We haven't won a banner for 14 years. The time before that was 36 years ago. 36 years ago. I was 7 years old then. This old man was 7 years old the second to last time they won. Nobody cares about Celtics mystique. The next guard before this one in terms of legends, Reggie Lewis is the last number before that, and he died, right? 93. Like, so my point is that Celtics have to be current and relevant. They can't be dusty old photographs on the like I have on my wall. They got to be guys that today's players have seen, watched, and respect. That's how you build that all the way through. And I think that Ray, as much as you hate to see it, Justin, and I understand what it's the message it sends, but that's not the way today's guys look at it. The way today's guys look at it is, oh yeah, he was a Celtic. He was a really good 3-point shooter. He could really play. That's as far as it goes. So I think it's important that you have Ray in the fold.
And I'm going to bet that Ray Allen's jersey does not get in that rafter. And I pray to God it does not.
That's a fun game. I agree with you. Let's all go around. Who's the next jersey who gets retired?
Tatum?
Rondo. They're not going to retire Rondo?
I don't know.
Why not? I think they should retire Rondo. They're
I
not going to retire. You really don't think so?
I don't think so.
No. I mean, was Rondo a great player? Yes, but he left right when he was and didn't leave.
They traded him.
They traded him, right? But that's the point. They traded him right before he was supposed to leave.
They made a choice.
Guard. Yeah. And when they traded him, that was the end of his retirement hopes. He could have had it though. Like, if he had carried that team and done what they were asking him to do to carry that team into the next stage, then I could have seen his number go up. I mean, he was in his prime, and he's done some pretty amazing things since then. But I think at the end of the day, everybody always felt that, Rondo still needed somebody else to be the better player on the team with him, and like one other guy. And I don't know that they wanted to wait. I
mean, McHale's up there though. I mean, McHale's better than Rondo, obviously, but it's like, I don't know. I didn't watch him, but was McHale the best? Better than Bird?
Arguably, he could have won an MVP in '87, but yeah, I hear you. Until he broke his foot.
I mean, both Brown and Tatum are going up there if they win a couple. I'm just saying. I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know.
That's where it should go. Like
an honorary. I don't know. I like Rondo. I guess. I mean, they don't have any numbers left, do they? So at this point, you kind of got to start picking and choosing. Like, the criteria is getting harder and harder to get up there. The more we retire them, you would think. Yeah,
3-digit jerseys.
Yeah, they had to trade. They had to trade Richardson so that White would have the number. And Langford too. They had to trade us so that White would have one. Anyway, that's a joke, but it is worth noting. I do think Rondo could get up there. He probably won't. You're right. But I think he should, in theory.
To your point, though, look at where everyone was on Ray until KG said that's what it's going to be. So if Ray and Rondo are, if they're going to listen to KG, and KG said both should get up there in the ceremony. He said Ray, but he also said Rondo too. Possibly. I just don't think.
Why not Perk then? Let's just do that.
No, that's too much.
Definitely
Stop
the
it.
frig
Stop
not.
it.
Hell no.
Stop it.
Hell to the no. I don't think either one gets up, honestly.
I don't either.
I think, you know who I think the next number up? 44.
You think Rob?
Danny Ainge.
Oh, okay. Well, then what's Rob gonna wear?
Now maybe they do the thing on the side. They Lusky. I don't know, Danny. Maybe not, but I feel like
Trader Danny has to get retired. They need to retire that. Yeah,
that'd be hilarious. Say Trader 44.
That's what it should be. Yeah,
right. And I can think of another trader that should have it right across theirs if they get up there too.
Brad Stevens.
That was no Trader.
Oh,
Trader.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I almost missed it too.
Diabolical. You have no chill. No chill.
Right. We'll
Zero
compromise.
chill right now. But
I wove that together so well.
It was like a quilt. Betsy Ross down here doing his thing. I think, I think you're right. It's probably Tatum. Tatum is the most likely, but I do think Ainge will
deserves
get up there.
A spot.
I think Ainge gets up there some way. And let me also say, they still have not done something for Mike Gorman, and I think something needs to be done for Mike Gorman.
Oh yeah,
as well. I don't think this is his last year. They haven't gone on the road, which is kind of annoying. I think they got to go back on the road. I think that will help. But Mike, I don't think Mike's gonna be doing this for a lot longer. I don't think he's gonna be doing a lot of the games this week on the West Coast trip. So I think some of them are on on TNT or ESPN. So I don't think he's going on the trip. So certainly if they're doing it from home, but I just get the sense that, Mike likes doing it, but I don't think he's going to be doing it forever. It's harder to do that job in that capacity. So Sean is obviously able and ready to step in, has done so on a couple occasions and does great, but gotta love Mike.
Does Grandy just like, he's the guy no matter what?
He was supposed to be the guy.
Steps right in.
That was supposed to be the deal, right? When he got the job, the radio job was like, won't be long, you'll step right in. And 25 years later, he's still on the radio side doing his thing. But I think we're going to see Sean moving over. Hey, it's the thing that I would say, like, not to wrap up the whole day, but I feel really good about the future. I feel really good about how the team's playing. I feel really good about how the star player is playing and how he is really kind of orchestrating and making everything go. You
should feel really excited about Rob Williams being healthy.
Absolutely.
And really, because the thing about him being healthy is he clearly does learn quickly. But you got to have reps to learn in this game. And when you're injured and you don't get reps, imagine where he'd be at right now if he had healthy seasons or less than 10 games injured through all of the years. What is it? It's year 3, right? Is that right? 4, 3.
Yeah, I think it's actually season 4.
See, yeah.
Because
it is. Yeah, it is.
This was
wow. Yeah. Holy.
So if he was healthy through those first 3, think about where he'd be at right now with these guys. And he's pretty damn awesome right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's the glue. He makes it all work. He always has been.
When Jalen missed that shot that you mentioned, Rob's the one
who was there. Yeah,
and got
exactly.
The 2 points.
Yeah, no, he's so important for this team. Not just the putbacks, which it's kind of crazy that he averages 10 points almost entirely on rebounds and putbacks. Like, he gets some lobs too, But that's insane to me. Like he doesn't even, I don't even know where I'm going with that, but he's just so amazing to watch. But you can tell this season, Marcus and him have been the guys that really get them going on defense. Obviously, Tatum and Brown, phenomenal scorers. They are your best offensive players. That's not the question, but they are better when they play defense. Obviously, you see last season, their defense was atrocious, and they're way better on defense this year. Offense, kind of the same production wise. You need your defensive cornerstones as much as you need the other guys. So it's cool to see people like acknowledge Rob, because last season, the whole thing was if he could stay healthy, this team would not be 36-36. Right. So it's nice to see him get some recognition there.
Totally agree. Remember when we were talking, let's go back to let's say January, whatever it was, when things turned around, right? That was, the questions were, how do you build a team around these guys, right? Who are the pieces? What does it look like? How do you make it happen? And I think the way Rob played this year, getting the extension, becoming a consistent player who could play long minutes, efficient minutes, being a connector piece who can pass, rebound, hustle, adds those pieces around Jalen and Jason that they don't really do well, or at least they're not core parts of their game. And that was like the first building block, I think, that you knew Jalen and Jason were going to be good and needed to do it, but that was like the first cornerstone piece. To your point, Riley, I think you're absolutely right. Once that's set in place, then it was like, okay, well, now what do we need around that? Which is kind of weird. You'd think it would be Jalen and Jason, but I think because they can do so many different things, it was like kind of amorphous. It was like, what do you do? Then Smart comes in and says, okay, I can facilitate. I'll still give my effort, but he's hitting open threes or standstill threes at like a really good rate for him right now. And when those four pieces came together, boom, like that's when things really, I think, jumped off the page. And obviously their health is a big help of that. But, Jalen was out, we're going to have situations. It feels like they've figured out what it takes to win. That's what we were waiting for. How are these guys going to figure out what it takes to win as in these roles? Like I think Jason Tatum knew what it took to win when he was like the third best player on the team, the second best player on the team. Like he knew what he could do in those roles, but as the guy who everybody's bringing doubles to every single time he comes over half court, that took a big adjustment. But now that everything's kind of fit into place, then the question is, what about the fifth guy? Is it Derek White? Is it Al Horford? Is there somebody else who can fit that role? I think that's really where, where I saw that they tried to use Peyton Pritchard in that. He hit a couple shots, but I think really they needed somebody bigger who could maybe defend and be a little bit more switchy. Derek wasn't hitting any shots yesterday. Al was off the floor for, I'm not sure really what reason in the fourth quarter. I think that was because of the lineup, the minutes. It just felt like they need to have another wing guy who can really plug into that spot. Aaron Nesmith could be that guy. We don't know. But to your earlier point, Justin, are they going to give him the time? Because Rob was able to work through those minutes and get to where he is, and that's, I really think that's something Aaron Nesmith needs. He needs to be thrown to the wolves here and see what happens.
The other thing in that game, I just didn't like the ball movement in the fourth quarter from the Celtics at all.
Yeah.
There was just way too much ISO. And that's what we saw earlier in the year when they got into close games, was just they were trying to ISO their way out of it. And Dallas has been playing great defense, but when they were really carving them up a little bit, when they started to have their spurt, and especially in the first half and then a little bit in the third quarter too, it was all ball movement. It was all, the lobs are huge. Things like that are really what get them going offensively. And I think they just tightened up, and maybe they wanted to win it so bad for KG that was an issue. But that does go back to your point about having a wing, that's needed even just so that there's lots of movement and they need a couple of guys that can come in and hit shots. And what is Neesmith shooting right now, percentage wise? Because that's the kind of stuff. I don't think it's that great. And he's kind of a 3-point, and he's like the 3-point specialist. So is it because he needs the minutes to be able to be that guy? And then if that guy comes out and starts draining those threes, would a game like that have had more spacing? Or was that just something that was kind of happening situationally? I mean, they've been so good with the ball movement and all the screening, and like everything has been so nice and so fluid. But again, Dallas and Celtics, what were they? They were saying they were the two hottest teams, less like underneath Phoenix. Mm-hmm. And defense was a big part of it for both teams. So for the Celtics to have a couple of those stretches and spurts the way they did was pretty good. Mm-hmm. But situationally, I think you're right about the wing. And Riley, what's your take on Neesmith? I know we're going to wrap here in a couple of minutes, but what's your take on Neesmith? Like, is it simply a minutes thing, or is there a confidence thing, a combination?
It's everything. I mean, it's just how it is. I don't know that I can say definitively whether he will produce in volume at the efficiency you need him to, but I think he has a better shot of getting to be the player that we want him to be if he has volume opportunity. Because worst case, you just shut it down, because it's not like anybody else hits shots in volume. I don't know what happened to Grant Williams, but I would love to see the splits after the All-Star break, because he's been like really bad from three, which is like, it's kind of whatever, because Grant does a lot of other things.
No, but it was such a big part of their turnaround right before.
Exactly. Yeah. But you need if Williams can't do that, that's fine. You need somebody who in volume can do it. Pritchard has fine when he's open. He shoots at a great clip, catch and shoot, whatever. But they need the Marcus Morris kind of mold. That was a guy that I remember we talked about, not obviously on the podcast, but years ago, we would talk about, is he the second best player on the team when we would open the season? And they still had Tatum, they had Brown, they had Kyrie and Hayward. But you have this guy who can hit open shots and draw attention. That was the problem last night. They doubled Tatum every time he touched it. I mean, he was fine. He was cooking. He had like 17 in the first half. And I was like, he might go for 50. And I think he had 2 points in the third quarter, and he finished with like 21. So he had a bad second half, but it's not his fault. You need guys around him to space the floor. And as good as Al Horford is, and he's actually been really good, he doesn't shoot volume threes. So when Derek White's 2 for 10,
and he shot a lot of them, right? Didn't he shoot? Yeah. Didn't Horford shoot 5?
I think
5 in that game.
5 last night. Yeah. Well, he's just been amazing over the last stretch. That like 6-game run they had on. Horford was like locked and loaded from 3. So him spacing the floor kind of opens it up. But you can't rely on Al Horford to space the floor every night. That's what I was saying when they run the double big, which is actually better than I thought it was going to be. But still, like, it has its limitations. But Horford actually does keep them out of ISO mode. And I think a guy like Neesmith makes Brown and Tatum go, oh, I have shooters around me, ISO mode. And I think that's actually what happened in the fourth. Horford's off the floor, and they're all like, okay, everyone else here can shoot realistically if they're wide open. Yep. I'm going to try an ISO. But then Dallas sends the double at Tatum. There goes that plan. I just don't think they knew what to do.
They didn't adjust.
After that. Yeah. I mean, you can't really ask more. It's interesting too. I know we're wrapping, but I wanted to bring this up because last time I came on here, it was like Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, same level, 1A, 1B.
Oh,
when did you guys?
This is the Ray Allen.
No, it's not the Ray Allen thing. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if you want to make it about that, you were definitely wrong on that. That's like the first time that you've ever been wrong about 2 guys. So I want to get that out there because we have Pierce and Antoine Walker. You were right. Brady Bledsoe, you were right. I don't know any stories. I could be wrong, but this seems like the first time that you goofed because Brown is he's not bad.
I don't think that I said Brown was better than Tatum.
No, but you had him at the same level. What I said Tatum.
I said I don't think the gap is as big as you all think it is.
Yeah, but then Tatum started playing like all NBA defense, and now it just looks awful. So yeah, I mean, it is what I just want to bring that up because I know you have a history of being really right on all these things,
or at least saying it's really right.
Yeah, well now, but see, I'm taking the throne now because I was right. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm locked. I knew Tatum was going to be awesome.
John is like, he's just coming at me for Ray Allen. This is how much he's flipped around. He's gone from being my co-host and confidant and anti-Kyrie Ray buddy and pal to now he's taking pot shots at me on the podcast for poor defenseless Ray Allen who was victimized in Boston.
I know it's hard.
You see how I spun out of that Brown?
I was wrong.
Thing?
I know. Right it's clever.
He really didn't he just kind of try to slip it, but the stain is still there. And if it doesn't fit, you can't acquit. No, look, I still think that there is an ascension for Jaylen Brown, though, that is higher than where he is. Like I do think that there's more playmaking in his future than what he's shown.
Some of those drop passes that he does, like down to Rob, like the way those are.
He's getting there.
And then he had one. What was it between the legs? Who did he hit that? Who did he hit with the one between the legs?
Bounce pass through the legs. I think that was that to Rob or Grant, something like that. It was down underneath. I remember. Yeah, on the baseline, he just bounced. Boom, that was pretty. Or no, maybe it was Al. It was the and one that Al hit. Al had
right.
Those got me
that was
hyped.
So sweet.
That's what I'm saying. Al Horford. Shout out the man. He's my favorite right now. I love him so much. Anyway, keep going.
He looks like he went into a time capsule.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's so weird.
You can't rely on it. That's the problem.
No. Absolutely not.
No, he's getting like hyperbaric treatment. Like he goes and sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber and oxygenates his tissues.
Star Wars style. He's in that tube.
The back to Yes. I think they need Grant. I think Grant's ascension has been really important. And to your question, Riley. So since the All-Star break, Derek White and Grant Williams have both shot 25.8% from three. So now that's both of them shooting 3 and 3.5 threes a game. So that's not good. That's not good.
Wow. So many 0 for 4s.
Right. So that's they need help there, right? So
and it's going to force Tatum back into the ISO thing.
I don't think so.
No. If they have trouble with not just Grant but if Horford, like if they start having some breakdown that way, it really will have an impact.
I think it will have an impact, but I don't think. And maybe I'm being naive about this, but I do think he's kind of crossed the line into a place of the real elite of the league. I think that he's playing well. He's hitting his shots to a far greater degree than he was early on. And to that point, he's shooting almost 38% from 3 on 10 attempts a game. Pretty good. I think he's gonna make it as a player. He's averaging 33 points since then, and 7 rebounds, almost 5 assists. It's a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. I mean, it's all there for him, right? And once guys aren't shooting 25% from 3, those assist numbers start to go up even higher. He had 17 potential assists yesterday, and he only had 4. So that's Ricksville in a way, and he stayed with it. He didn't back away from it. So that to me is the most important thing. When we close this book on this night, on this show, and even on the entire KG retirement ceremony, we're in good hands with that guy. And if Brown can go out there and find a way. I think his game does have to change a little bit more than what it's been. And I liked what he was doing with really hounding Luka. Like, I think that if he can really say, I'm going to be Kawhi, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be Kawhi, and I'm just going to shut people down, and I'll have my time to get my shots, but I'm going to make people really be next level and have to defend. I don't know what you do with those two. I mean, I'm not saying it's Jordan Pippen, but it's Jordan Pippen, right? In terms of that 1-2 punch of The
Jordan,
two best
Pippen,
players are the
Rodman.
best defenders.
Jordan,
Well,
Pippen,
Rodman, yeah, but see, now we're talking about Rob and we're talking about Smart in there. So
But together they make Rodman. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Bionic Rodman.
Bionic Rodman.
Yeah,
The hair, the
Power
wedding
Rangers.
dress.
It's
Right.
the Power Rangers. They all
Yes.
come together to be.
That's right. I'm the Black Ranger. I'm the Pink Ranger. I'm the.
Oh God.
Can we go Voltron?
we'll stay away
That's
from
the
that.
But it all-
original,
But
like,
but
Power
just to
Rangers
finish this
ripoff.
point, we can get out because Justin's ready to sleep.
No, we stopped talking about Ray and he
I
lost
know
interest.
we'll bring this back to Ray and then we can make him feel better. But
no.
this team is in a very, very good place, and we have not had a show in a few weeks, and I feel good about where we'll talk about playoffs. We'll talk about where they're headed. They're going on the road. They're going to have a tough road trip, but I feel like this is a team that not only can get deeper into the East than we might have thought. I do think they're a finals contender, and looking at the West, I think that makes them an NBA champions contender at this point. They need to hit their other guys need to hit shots the same way that the Bucks other guys had to hit shots for them to beat the Suns. The Bobby Portises and the Connaughtons and those guys had to raise their game. But if Derek White's and Grant Williams and Daniel Tice's of the world can step up, the most important thing is that's step one. We're not even in the tax right now, don't forget. So this summer, Wick, open your damn checkbook, sell some Sincoro vodka, tequila, or whatever, and I want to see us get some real free agents in here. So that wing player that we're talking about that they need, he's on the bench. We're ready to roll. I really feel good about where we're headed. I'm pumped. I'm jacked. And, one might say, with what's coming this year, anything's possible.
Oh, there you go.
You didn't see that one coming?
Come on.
Not to the last second. Not to the last second.
He told us at the start that's what he was going to do, because that's not how they ended the retirement ceremony. You didn't think that's how we were going to wrap? That is exactly how we were going to wrap. I knew it the second we started talking about it.
It's a great show. It's a great show on Showtime.
Which we will never ever talk about ever.
Just don't talk about the Showtime show. Have you seen the Showtime show?
John hasn't watched it.
That's
John, because I've asked John if he's watched it like 3 times on this show, and he keeps saying no.
The last 3 shows we've had, which is basically since before Christmas, every show, like, have you watched it yet? I'm like, no, I haven't. I feel bad about myself.
You should feel bad about yourself. You turned and you're now like, you're ready to take Ray out to dinner, and you still haven't watched. I'm telling you that have you seen it, Riley? You've seen it. You watched it.
Dude, we watched it together.
Yeah, that's right. I went for another run in the middle of the second viewing.
No, you left
like,
you saw it a second time.
You're missing out, John. It is. All right. I love the hat. I can't quite read it.
Northeast, Chrysler, Plymouth, Isuzu.
That's why he wants the next one going up. He wants it to be
this guy right here.
44.
Number 44 right there. That's the guy.
I hope this ownership group respects Danny's contributions. I'd love to see him go up.
If there's anybody who would, it'll be these guys, I think.
Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. As a reminder, you can follow Celtics Stuff Live on Twitter at CSL_tweet live. You can follow John at CSL_Duke. I'm at CSL_Justin. Riley, what's your handle?
Oh, what did I call it? It's underscore something. It's Tristan's big fan. It's a Thompson burner.
Time to get out. Time to take a look at that, Riley. Just saying. Might want to take a pass on that one.
I'll make a second one.
Just change the name of that one. You
just
can change the name anytime.
Protect the innocent.
Everybody's still following you. Well, you bring it back every once in a while. It like flips back into gear. Like, there's Tristan's biggest fan again, and then you disappear. It becomes your alter ego for your account.
Right.
Back and forth. Heartfelt thank you to everybody for tuning in. And on behalf of, a huge thanks to Nick Gelso, the founder of CLNS Media.
Now he's
I'm
not
mad
gonna
as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm Justin Poulin. He's Riley Poulin Bigford, our special guest.
Yeah, thanks for
John
having
Duke
me.
is dead to me. Thanks for listening to this week's edition of Celtics Stuff. Dead to me, Ray. Dead to me. Live.